Hello yet again, people of the internet. This is The Political Headache with me, Kazmal Makaure, and my co-host, Mr.
Odur
Jagero. But
Yes.
how have you been, bro?
I've been very well.
It's been a minute. What's been happening on your end, politically? What's the thing that's disturbing you?
The thing that is disturbing me, the thing that is making me completely... When Ruto says that people are... Yeah, kuna PhD au wengine hawajasoma. I don't know what he means. That's very interesting.
Wewe uko na PhD?
Mimi sina PhD.
Na mimi pia sina. Chuki yani ni kati yangu mimi na wewe. The president has said he has a PhD. And you want to lecture him and you don't have a PhD.
What are people lecturing him about?
I think it's just the basics. Because you see, the Kenyans have always been saying, speaking about the issues, Kenyans have always been saying they want the war on graft, they want an end to, for example, femicide, they want an end to lack of accountability, those kinds of things. But this was rather, I think the context, because we have to contextualize it, I think he was speaking in the context of the people who are particularly against the vaccination campaign.
Yeah.
And I think that he said when he was in Mandera. Was it Mandera or Ajir? Mandera, I think.
Mandera.
And that's when the declaration was made. And he says that he's a made man, that people are threatening him, that he's going to be a one-term president. And he said that he has been a member of parliament for 15 years. He has been a deputy president for 10 years. And now he has become president and he will only leave after 5 years. And we are far from the election. So we can't threaten him with anything. What do you think?
I think that the fact that people are always saying that he's a one-term president is just trying to be aggressive towards him and telling him that, look, we want you to work or else you're going to be a one-term president. But also there are a section of Kenyans that really think that whatever he does from now on does not matter. The die is cast.
Do you think he could redeem himself?
I think Ruto can redeem himself in a way that we can only imagine.
Right.
You can imagine the things that Trump is doing right now. If Ruto woke up one day and said, okay, anybody that is not working for this government is going home.
Right.
The corruption that is bedeviling this country is going to go. I'm going to write all these executive orders. By the way, do we have executive orders in Kenya, our constitution?
I do not know. I would have to consult the constitution, but a lot of the things that I've seen come as executive orders, I think, have been pardons and appointments, and I don't know if those fall under executive orders. But also, very interestingly, when the head of state was in North, the NFD, that's what it's called. Is it NFD or NFE? In North, what we typically would call Northeastern Province. Another interesting thing that happened is that he said there will be no more vetting for IDs. Especially for the people in the northern frontier, and that sparked a lot of online rage. Do you think it's ill-informed?
It is the most reckless statements I've ever had a head of state do.
Explain.
Because it is very important. I think for you to become a Kenyan citizen or to hold a Kenyan papers, there has to be some sort of vetting.
Okay. So
standing on the podium and saying that there is no vetting whatsoever I think is very reckless coming from a PhD holder.
But for I could offer some pushback and ask.
Okay.
You know, the people who come from border counties are the ones that feel this thing. They're the people who feel the weight of it. And if you're a Jango, if you come from Muko Chini, Migori, Sibani, even my little sister, they had to produce the ID for who. You have to come with a letter from whoever, prove that your parents are from Kenya. There are, and this is not to make a case, because a lot of what the people are saying on social media is that this is going to be used as a strategy to increase his voter base in 2027.
Yes.
And they're saying that this move of just saying that there will be no vetting is to ensure that more, for example, aliens take up IDs.
Yeah, it gives a lot of Tarakaniti vibes.
It could be, yes.
It gives a very serious Tarakaniti vibes. And then look, we all know that the people that are Kenyans, that Kenyans are calling Somalis, have had a lot of problems with getting what is their constitutional right.
Right.
Which is because you remember before the 2010 constitution,
yes,
having a passport wasn't your right.
Yes.
And having an ID wasn't your right.
Yes.
And when we had the constitution of 2010, having an ID is a constitutional right, and having a passport is now a constitutional right. The problem that has always happened, and I think people need to differentiate what is going on here.
Yes.
There is a level of vetting before you have a government paper.
Yes.
Before you become a Kenyan, whoever you are. Because, for example, when I was born, I did not have a birth certificate.
Yes.
Wewe unajua ulikuwa na birth certificate? Mimi nilizaliwa village. Mamangu hakuchukua birth certificate.
Yes.
So, when I wanted to travel to Rwanda, I did not have a passport.
Yes.
So I had to get, a birth certificate.
You're right.
And I went and told these officers in Kisumu that, look, I do not have a birth certificate. And they're like, go and get a letter from the chief.
Yes.
Go and get a letter from the chief is a form of vetting.
Yes.
We want to establish that you are saying that you come from Nyakach.
Yes.
Kabodo.
Yes.
Sub-location.
Right.
Okay? Do you
actually
know you?
Yes.
Do they know your father?
Yes.
Do they know your grandfather?
Right.
That is vetting.
But I don't...
So, then...
Go for it. Yeah.
Before I finish, but the problem that has been happening along our borders, and this one is this blame is at the frontier of the government.
Yes.
The thing is that they have been each and every time somebody that is called a Somali Kenyan wants an ID.
Yes.
The first suspicion that the Kenyan government has is that this is a foreigner trying to be Kenyan.
Right.
This is the problem that has always been had.
Yes.
It is not just in Wajir, by the way. If you go to the Busia border.
Yes. Even Migori down there.
Yes, Migori country.
Yes.
There is that problem with people, with the Kenyan government thinking that this could be a Tanzanian.
Yes.
Encroaching and trying to become a Kenyan citizen. Or this is a Ugandan trying to become a Kenyan citizen. Or this is a Somali trying to become a Kenyan citizen. So
Right.
it's been very strict to get these IDs along the border. I think what the president of Kenya should have done is to say that, look, we are going to relook this. We are not going to abolish, what is it called?
Vetting.
Vetting.
Yes.
But we are not going to be too harsh.
But I think that's what it was. It's just that media headlines just said...
That's what it was.
We sensationalized it.
Really?
Because again...
What did you say, Robert?
Ile vetting ambayo imesumbua wananchi wa Northern Kenya kwa miaka 60. Leo nimesema hiyo maneno ya vetting iondolewe ndio vijana wote wa Kenya wapate vitambulisho vile wa Kenya wengine wanapata vitambulisho bila ya matatizo.
He signed a whole thing, and I was even looking at the people because I do not have enough context. I was looking at some of the people who've been who come from Northeast and share their stories.
Yeah.
Say that they used to be in class, and when people were taking IDs, they were the only Somali in the class. They were not allowed to. Everyone else got an ID, but for them, they were not allowed to get an ID.
Because of how they look.
Yes.
Pale nyuma, vijana, watoto wa Northern Kenya waliulizwa maswali mengi, wakafanyiwa vetting, wakafanyiwa kama wao sio wa Kenya ya kawaida.
And you see, that's where we need to draw the line.
Right.
That these people have been segregated because the way they look.
Yes.
People are segregated in the United States because of the way they look.
Yes.
Because they look black.
Right.
Because they look Latino.
Yes.
Because they look a certain way.
Yes.
And therefore, the suspicion is that you do not belong. And I think what perhaps Ruto was saying is that we want everybody, the chiefs and the authorities, to not look at these people suspiciously.
Right.
Just to go the normal way.
Yes.
The same way you vet in Kisumu.
Yes. But you see, that's the thing. The same way we vet in Kisumu is the same way you should vet them in the NFD. But you find that, for example, they asked, come with a passport for your grandmother. And Mans is like, even my own mom does not have a passport. That for them, for example, a passport for you would take significantly shorter than it would for a person from Northeastern. And it's very curious to see how public perception is now shifting. Because we used to consistently call them Somalis. We used to call them whoever, those Walalos, we had almost written them off. But now that the president had said this, I've seen there's a public sentiment shift where now people are saying our brothers from the NFD. It sort of feels as though anywhere the president goes for courtship, then now we remember. And that's the thing which I've found to be very interesting, because for his development towards the northern frontier, a lot of people now have humanized that area of Kenya. And you had people say, Sisi Sasa Rice will give you 99% of the vote from here, that they will vote for the president's re-election to the last man. And of course, this also comes, you see, in the middle of people saying that a fresh census ought to be conducted in that area. So a lot of people are trying to make it look as though he's trying to rig the election. I don't know what you think about it. 2 things have happened up there. 3, actually. A development tour has gone. The road that they've been promised, I think I saw today that 20 kilometers have already been, there's a road that's being upgraded from, I think, whatever, gravel to tarmac. There's that development thing that they've promised, and the thing for vetting IDs, but also there was a landmark ruling that's gotten quite a bit of notoriety about the population of the people at the northern frontier.
Yeah, so for me, this is what I would say. In as far as Ruto is concerned, Ruto is a man right now that is catching at straws. But you know, some straws are strong.
Yes.
They can save you. Not all straws are weak.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So so he could be catching at the straws, but those are very strong straws.
Yes.
That can save him. Ruto is right now, you told me that Ruto is looking for his opponent. He doesn't know where his opponent is going to come from.
Right.
Cindio.
Yes.
So my thinking is Ruto is a politician.
Yes.
And a very good politician for that matter. He's making arrangement for 2027. He has to.
Which is rather crafty, because, you know, he's been saying that he's seeing other people politic and it's not your time for politics.
It's not
but
honest.
Yeah, he's a politician.
He's doing everything because I think he's looking at the future. Because Ruto has always come up with this thing.
Yes.
Wachana na hao, sisi tumejipanga.
Yes.
Na tumejipanga sawa sawa.
Yes.
Ruto is a man who schemes for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, and ahead of time.
Right.
You know? And he knows right now that the Kikuyus are not with him. Mount Kenya has shifted. They are not with him right now. He's quoting the Luos. You know?
Yes.
He has the Kalenjin block.
Yes.
And Northeastern is huge, bro.
Right.
And you remember Moi used to win fair and square.
Right.
Let me tell you.
Yes.
Ogengo Dinga used to take Nyanza. Aweke kwa mfuko.
Yes.
A bit of Luya land.
Yes.
Yeah? And then Moi would come, and then Matiba would go with the entire Mount Kenya vote.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
And then sometimes somebody would simama huko, you know, Meru or whatever, and then somebody in Luyaland.
Yes.
And then Moi could just take the entire north. All right, people of the internet, I hope that you are enjoying this episode so far. I broke the episode just to tell you something that is very, very interesting. In 2024, a lot of people were saying that I am broke, Chagero. I do not have a job. That what is interesting is that when they were telling me this in 2024, I was already working on a book for the last 3 years. And that book was about the hustles and the jobs that you can get online. Now, what you need to know about me, Jagero, is that I have always traveling. I'm always doing this crazy, nice stuff. But I've never been employed since I left college. And I'm not saying that because I hate employment. I didn't get employment, you know. But I have always worked. I've always earned money. I have worked for Americans. I've worked for Europeans. I've worked for Kenyan. I've worked for anybody literally on the face of the earth. And these are jobs that I've always gotten online, on LinkedIn, on other ways. So I've been very busy. In 2024, I wrote a book called The Digital Goldmine, 18 side hustles that you can take advantage of online. And a lot of people bought that book. Almost sometimes even 500 people in a month buying that book. And people have been saying, are there more jobs? Yes, there are more jobs. So in 2024, they are no longer 18 side hustles, but they are 25 side hustles because I have added other books. So in 2025, you cannot say, Jagero, I don't have a job. Jagero, I am broke, because I have put it before you. The book is not expensive. It is 1,000 Kenya shillings, or if you are asking about the price in other parts of the world, it is just $10. Okay? So in the description below, I have put the link that takes you to where you can learn more about the book. And I've also left a link where you can buy the book. So thank you very much. And let's go back to programming.
Because that's the other question I wanted to ask. Another thing that people have intimated, especially on socials, is that Moi ruled for all his years without the votes from the mountain. Could this be a thing which you think is a possibility for Ruto to explore in 2027?
Yeah, but like I said, I always think that if the Mount Kenya people stood somebody that's very strong from there, their leader, that would be assured of 90% of the votes.
Yeah.
And then there is somebody who is, for example, taking the entire Luo vote.
Yeah.
Like Raila.
Yes.
And a bit of the coastal region. Then you leave the rest to the incumbents.
Absolutely. So now, this is now what I would ask, because in the context of his survival, because that's what it looks like, and especially now, because you see we are maybe around 28 months to the elections. We are properly in our midterms. The things how midterms look like, especially in the States, if we were to use it as an example, is we want to see who's going to lead Congress. Effectively, I think he's done a fairly decent job not a fairly decent, he now controls Parliament. So if we were to think who controls Congress, it is Ruto. But my questions would be, who then do you think would dislodge him in 2027 of the people who fronted themselves?
Kasmul Makure.
Mimi niko kwa youth league. Bado mimi ni mkulima mdogo bana.
You know.
Yeah.
To be very honest with you.
Right.
I am not interested in who dislodges Ruto.
Yes.
If you asked me.
And it should be.
It is the least of my interest right now. Because for you to say that I am going to dislodge Ruto, we should have known you by now.
Right.
We should have known you by now, and we should have known how you operate, what you have done.
Yes.
Remember the problem that I've always had with Raila Odinga, your grandfather.
Yes.
Is that in my estimation, he's been trusted with small things, and that is the Nyanza.
Yes.
And I don't think that he's properly taken care of Nyanza. Like right now, we don't have a Makure that has been anointed by Raila Odinga to take over Nyanza. Okay, and so. And I don't think Raila can beat Ruto in 2027.
I think he could.
He could, but he can if Mount Kenya supports him. Yeah.
Okay.
But Mount Kenya has never supported a Luo in that way. They have never.
Then maybe to ask the question.
Yeah.
If Raila retains his votes from the last election.
Okay.
And of course, let's say if Mount Kenya has never supported him, if he loses his chunk from Mount Kenya, which I doubt he would lose because his following in Mount Kenya is rather solid. The little that he has is rather solid. He could dislodge President Ruto.
My problem also is that there is a lot of fatigue around the candidacy of Raila Odinga. There's a lot of fatigue. I mean, these Kambas have voted for this guy for so long.
Right.
Like, we are always in opposition. This guy never wins. 45%, almost 50% of lawyers are saying the same thing. We have voted for this guy for so long. He never wins.
What if 2027 is his Mandela moment?
I don't think you put Raila and Mandela in the same basket.
I think we could.
That way.
Because if you think about, for example, Mandela, he just did it less times. But in the abolition of apartheid, when people were saying...
Mandela vied how many times?
Just once. And got it. That's what I'm saying. Maybe this then becomes his Mandela moment.
Then you are comparing oranges and apples, bro.
Oranges and a grafted apple.
It's not that way, right? First of all, Raila is not in any prison right now. Raila is having a presidential chopper.
The prison of false hope.
The prison of false hope.
Yes, the prison of mismanaged elections.
But then the false hope is not with Raila. The false hope is with the people.
Yes.
Yeah.
What if this time he actually gets to the liberation?
And I think the Kenyan people have shifted their mindset. They do not think that that Raila is taking them to promised land. The Luos themselves could think that Raila is the man to take them to promised land. But I don't think Kambas think so anymore.
Okay.
I don't think Luyas think so anymore.
Yeah. So who would, for example, the Mulembe vote rally behind? Is it Natembeya? Is it Mudavadi's Weta? Are the old guards of Mulembe Nation gone?
The people, the leaders.
Is it Eugene Wamalwa? Is it Salasia? Is it Amisi? Who do you think?
Eugene Wamalwa is to me what Babu Owino is for the Luo Nation.
Okay.
Yes, a small fish.
Okay.
That is trying to come out of the water once in a while and breathe.
But
I don't think he commands that kind of respect.
Okay.
He has never stepped in the shoes of his father,
Right.
the young Wamalwa.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes. No, it's true.
I don't think he has.
To which I would ask, are we saying that, for example, the Mulembe vote will still be dispersed? I saw the other day.
It's always going all over.
Yes, I saw the other day people uprooting this as a road sign for Senator Moses Wetangula Road, and we saw that thing happen in Kulechini. Was it Dik, which was renamed Francis Atwoli Road, and people had that. But you see, I feel like in the midterms, it feels as though these old guards are dead. And then something just happens towards the elections, and then it's almost as though minds change. In 2019, for example, who would you have wagered that Raila Odinga might have won the 2022 elections from what it looked like?
Raila's always looked like he's going to win every election.
Right.
Yeah.
But towards the midterms, for example, there's a difference between the Kenyan sentiment in 2022, in 2017, in 2007, and the sentiment in the midpoint of the election cycle. So, for example, in 2019, if someone were to think about it, would someone think, or let me not use 2017, 2006, 15, or thereabout, 2014, 2015, would someone say that Raila would have clinched the presidency from Uhuru? Did it look like a likely thing?
Yes, it looked like a likely thing.
Oh, so are you telling me this is the first time that you feel it could be likely that the sentiment has changed?
This is the first time that I actually don't see an opposition for the incumbent. For the first time. And what Ruto, I think, is doing is making sure that happens for a long time.
Okay.
And if we have Raila Odinga becoming the AU chairman, which is most likely to clinch, the Kenyan opposition is orphaned, completely orphaned.
Right.
We do not see anybody that the Luo people really respect outside of the institution of Raila Odinga. I do not see at all. I do not. Kalonzo Musyoka, what were we talking about?
Yeah, that's now what I wanted to ask, because also if you're to consider Kalonzo, because it's very curious that when it started, it felt as though everybody else, all the dissident forces were to rally around Kalonzo Musyoka, and he did quite a bit of traversing around the country. He went to rallies and he sympathized with Rigathi Gachagua when he was being impeached. And if anything, even in the recent DAPK launch for their headquarters, it seemed as though that of all the candidates, of course, Eugene said he would declare his candidacy. Kalonzo said he'd declare his candidacy. A lot of those people said that they would vie. But it seemed as though these forces and voices were coalescing around Kalonzo. But then comes a curveball. Matiang'i. Recently, you see the Jubilee Party say that they endorse Matiang'i as their presidential candidate. And remember also at the time...
Who is Jubilee?
Jubilee, I think, is it's a party from the mountain. It's largely mountain-focused, and I think they have a bit of influence around Narok area. But Uhuru and the camp on Jeremiah Kioni's side.
Is Uhuru in active politics?
I think he is. He just is not showing it as much. Or people have drawn him back into it. But I think the Kenyatas cannot avoid Kenyan politics.
What is the rationale? What is the idea about the Mount Kenya picking a Kisii to be the flag bearer of the...
That's the thing which I do not understand still, because their votes rarely go outside if they do not have a stake.
Yeah.
And it seemed as though it was going to go to Kalonzo, because there was even a talk. You remember there was a meeting at All Saints Cathedral where the Gema community invited the Kambas and said, you are our brothers as well. So there seemed to be some sort of unity, and it seemed as though this scale was going to tip towards Kalonzo's side. But I think it's rather curious.
I don't think Kalonzo can, like, for example, if you go to because the whole thing is still very tribal. The politics is very tribal.
Right.
The question is, what do the Luos think about Kalonzo Musyoka? I mean, Kalonzo Musyoka has never been respected by the Luo nation, simply because they have never. is that guy that has been following Raila and wiping his court.
Right, but he also got that watermelon tag, which I've seen him try
Yes.
to shed off recently when he said this is a new Kalonzo, and that watermelon tag was about.
It cannot be a new Kalonzo.
He was talking
Simply
about
because he's walking German Shepherd dogs does
right.
not make him.
That's the other thing which I was saying, man. That does not make you.
Are they German Shepherd dogs? That does not make you Kalonzo.
Bosco and Osama.
Kalonzo is a spent force, and I don't think even Kambas respect him that much, do they?
I think they do. He has a bit of stake in Eastern. Yes, I think he does, because then that's the thing which I thought was.
Do you think Akamba believes that Kalonzo can be president?
I think they do,
because I think Luos believe that Raila can still be president.
Yes,
I think Kalenjis believe that Ruto can still be president.
Right.
Even if it is after 15 years.
Yes.
The Kikuyus believe that Rigathi Gachagua can be president.
Yeah. Which is there I would disagree with Rigathi being president. He's just a current voice, because I think the Mount Kenya is not as dumb. If anything, the only reason they would coalesce around Rigiji was out of sympathy, and this sympathy is the thing which I would need us to maybe reflect about. Yeah, they could be.
He's the strongest Kikuyu right now,
and a lot of these.
Is he not the strongest Kikuyu right now?
I would say he's the most vocal right now.
No, he's the strongest Kikuyu.
I doubt it, man.
Who would be stronger than Rigiji in Kikuyu
in Mount Kenya?
Who?
Interesting.
You have to think about
you do have to think about it, but remember that strength we measure it's a function of time. Rigathi Gachagua is still novel, and he has new stories, so he's just enjoying novelty. He no longer has, and the way I look at power and influence, you should be able to move and rally a community to do something. A lot of the rallying numbers that he has been doing has been him crashing events. So he crashes an event. If you refuse for him to come in, then you are labeled a deserter, and then the people hate you. He does not have organic crowds. If he walked in town, he wouldn't pull a crowd. Uhuru, as unfortunate as it might be, might pull a bigger crowd than Rigathi. And I would think that
you could say that he's stronger.
I could say that he is stronger than Rigathi, but Rigathi is shaping.
He's not speaking.
Rigathi is shaping the conversation, but not the narrative, particularly. Like in the bigger sense, I would say that he is the host, but then I do not know who owns the media house. Yeah, he can get people talking, and people are going to Wamunyoro, and Wamunyoro actually right now feels like the place where the people can go for pilgrimage. And again, you've raised a very important point for people being orphaned. A lot of communities are going to be left orphaned because the old guards are transitioning into different roles, and some of them are being edged out of politics. It's just a function of time. So that has been interesting to watch, because it could be Kalonzo.
Like, for example, if who do you think is the strongest after Kalonzo Musyoka in Cumberland? Is it the guy from Machakos?
Man, I don't know. Who? Mutula?
Yeah.
Or Alfred Mutua?
Alfred Mutua.
I don't think Alfred Mutua has that much of a sway. I think of him as more of a technocrat than I think of him as anything else, because give him his props. I do not necessarily agree with a lot of the things he's doing in the Ministry of Labor, but he was one of the best government spokespersons we've ever had. I think that's the last damn good one we had. And he could communicate what the government was doing.
Do we have a spokesman?
We have a lot. We have a journalist. We have Hussein. We have Isaac Mwaura. We have so many people who are supposed to be talking, but they're not communicating. A lot of these people are doing journalism, but they're not doing communication. They don't know how to communicate what the thing is. So I don't think Alfred Mutua has that kind of influence over Cumberland. Another wild card that I would pull would be, but for him I don't think is Halias and Joho for the coast. I see the coast fronting him as maybe their flag bearer, as one of their strongest candidates. But I don't think he's gotten to.
And then he joins Ruto at the end of the day.
That's dicey. That's rather dicey. As long as Baba is still in the scene. No, as long as Baba is still in the scene, I don't think he could.
You keep talking about Baba being a presidential candidate in 2027. Where are you getting this information?
I don't necessarily say him as a presidential candidate. I say as long as he is in the scene. Because I say
How is he in the scene apart from...
Imagine even his availability. Because I keep on saying that I think he's going to be, apart from the youth vote, if the youth vote is united, that could be the only other wild card. But the only other wild card that will greatly, greatly impact 2027, I think, is Raila Odinga. Because nobody inherits his constituency. He has not given clear directions that this is where he wants his constituency to go. And remember, his constituency is cultish.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing which I'm seeing. There could be...
We are all talking about this thing, assuming that the elections are going to be fair.
Free and fair.
Which I have never understood the free part of it.
Yes, because we pay quite a bit.
Free?
We pay quite a bit. The elections have never been free.
Free?
Neither have they been fair. Yeah. However, that's the thing which, and that's the most exciting bit, because I'm not seeing anyone who's done enough canvassing to galvanize a particular constituency around themselves or their ideas to be able to wage a war in 2027. Because President Ruto is as you said, is a master schemer, is a master planner. He sees things and he follows them through. So that would be interesting to watch. That's what I've realized with regards to election. I've seen a lot of people talk about people like Rigathi, people like Eugene. We of course know that he might not vie, but I heard something very curious that Rigathi Gachagua said, that he has the cases in court. I think if I were to quote him, he said, hata mimi si lazima nikuwe kiongozi wa hii nchi, lakini hakuna kitu inanizuia kusimama 2007.
Is it not rather straightforward that once you've been impeached?
Yeah, but he has some sort of hope. And I don't know who are his advisors, that because he has a case in court, nothing prevents him. Yes.
That his impeachment
was unconstitutional. Yes.
And even though he cannot go back and take it,
yes,
he has been absolved. It is rendered irrelevant.
Right.
And therefore, he can still vie.
Right.
In fact, the court can say that we need you to reinstate the guy. And then Ruto and
Gachagua come back and lie to us.
No, he's not coming back.
Oh, there are no permanent enemies in politics.
No.
There are no permanent enemies.
No. Post this government, they might work together. Post this government.
But post this government is what we're talking about. It's 2027.
Yeah?
Post this government is 2027 election.
In 2027, I think that the character of Rigiji and the character of Ruto are very similar.
Mm-hmm.
They are people that once you cross their path in a very dramatic way,
yes,
then there's always been a love-hate relationship between Raila Odinga and Ruto.
Yes,
Ruto has either seen this as his uncle, sort of.
Yeah.
As a man that has lived for a long time and he needs respect, or perhaps because they are both Nilots.
Right. It could be a thing.
But, or maybe they have been, you see, Kasmuel have been friends for a long, long time.
Yes.
We can sharply differ.
Yes.
And say, okay, you go your way, I go my way.
Right.
But there is a way back.
There's a commonality.
Yeah, there's a way back. But I think this has to be this could, they are more of strangers than friends.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Ruto and Gachagua. Yeah, they're more of strangers.
That's interesting.
I think that's what I see. And that is why I expected them to agree. During their turn, I expected them to agree.
Right.
Somebody to say, well, let's push this over the line.
Right. But Rigiji also alleged that he was offered 2 billion to resign so that he can come back and vie for elections in 2027.
I do not. I think that could have been true.
And
I think that could have been true.
But wouldn't it have been
because he was not this guy's friend.
Oh, okay.
He was not his friend, and he thought that when somebody that is not your friend is offering you something, either you take it as a good gesture or a trap.
Right. So to him, he said he thought it was a trap.
You see? And they could actually film him taking the money.
Right, and there you go.
Thank you very much, people of the internet. This was Political Headache.
Thank you, man. And Kasmo Makoure. Thank you very much. That's the thing that's aching us, man.
Till another episode?
Yes.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Yeah.